Hi everyone and welcome to my unscripted video about 5 or so questions about the result of the upcoming election, because I have already voted in the election and there's still some time to vote, so I am making this video in the meantime. And so I think that a lot of people, a lot of Czechs and a lot of people online say that this election is very uninteresting because the result is obvious. They say that Babiš will win, that he will be prime minister again, and while that might be true, and I would say that it is likely, there are still underlying questions, and I would say that the first big question is, if that happens, who will he govern with? Because he has certain preferences, and we will see just how big his majority is, because if it's very slim and a lot of smaller parties get in, like the Social Democrats on Stačilo list or the Libertarian Svobodní on SPD list, if they are the one person that the majority stands on, they will suddenly have a lot more power, they will be able to do much more, and they can theoretically cause a lot of trouble. So that's one thing. So what's next is what will be the result within Spolu. So since Spolu is 3 parties, ODS, KDU-ČSL and TOP 09, are we going to see some big shifts after the preferential votes are in? I think that the Christian Democrats will perform very well. I think that the TOP 09 will perform very badly. What will that mean for the future of these parties? Tied to that is the question, is it possible for Spolu to survive as a coalition, which again I think that it might be unlikely. However, I can imagine a scenario where they lose by tiny small amount and then they will take on a role of the main opposition. So that's one thing. Another for me interesting question is, who will have more votes? Is it going to be Stan or Pirates? Because I believe that since 2021 both of these parties started fighting against each other over who will be the main liberal political force in the Czech Republic. And I would say that so far both of them were losing. That's what we saw with the European Parliament election, and this is now the main election, so if Pirates manage to have more votes than Stan, it will be interesting development. Next question for me is, how good will the parties that are very small but I believe are interesting perform? Those are the parties that I mentioned in my previous video, so that's the Eurofederalist Volt, the Youth Interest Hnutí Generace, and the Libertarian Voluntia, because I feel like this development even below the threshold is interesting, and this is the first time these parties are running in a nationwide election, kinda. Volt ran in the European Parliament election with 21, but it will be interesting who performs the best and who performs the worst. Yeah, and with that, I think that my last question is, how will the parties that are running on those fake coalitions, that includes the Greens with the Pirates, that includes Social Democrats and others with Stačilo, that includes Svobodní and Pro on SPD list, will they manage to get in? You'll see. Thank you for watching, and I will try to make some video after the election is out to answer these questions and what the answers mean. Thank you for watching. Bye.